Watch as dozens of migrants land on an Algarve beach. The group of mostly men can be seen heading up from the shore as a concerned local filmed on his phone. The migrants could be seen alighting from a wooden boat and heading inland, but cops immediately detained them near the town of Vila do Bispo. There had been a total of 38 migrants on board, including 7 children. This mother can be seen holding her daughter as cops interview her family. In another photo, they're talking to a dozen men spread out along the side of the road. Out of the 38 people, 31 were taken to court the very next day, where the judge gave them all 20 days to voluntarily return to Morocco, ordering they'll face forced deportation if they fail to repatriate themselves. The Portuguese Navy has increased patrols along the southern coast in response, saying the vessel had spent 6 days at sea from Morocco. Other European countries have toughened up their approach to illegal migrants. Last month, I reported Greece had banned all North African migrants from claiming asylum in the country, announcing it wasn't a hotel. Greece has started rounding up and arresting illegal migrants. These guys, who arrived in Crete from Libya, were hauled onto a bus straight to a detention centre. The country recently declared it would suspend all asylum applications from North African countries and set to work as soon as the law was signed. Hundreds of mainly men had arrived in one day, but the Navy and buses were there ready to detain them. Greece's Immigration Minister Thanos Plevris had declared he would end what he called the invasion of Europe.
Αυτό που συμβαίνει αυτή τη στιγμή από τη Βόρεια Αφρική και τη Λιβύη δεν είναι ομαλή μεταναστευτική ροή, είναι μια επιχείρηση εισβολής προς την Ευρώπη. Η συγκεκριμένη τροπολογία κάνει αναστολή υποβολής ασύλου, που σημαίνει ότι αυτός ο οποίος συλλαμβάνεται και κρατείται πλέον δεν μπαίνει στη διαδικασία της διεθνούς προστασίας, με την πρώτη ευκαιρία που καταφέρνουμε να βρούμε τον επιστρέφουμε. Αυτό λοιπόν αφενός είναι ένας αποτρεπτικός παράγοντας, γιατί γνωρίζουν ότι αυτοί οι οποίοι θα έρθουν τώρα, ενώ έχουν και άλλους διόδους προς την Ευρώπη, στην Ελλάδα θα μπουν σε καθεστώς κράτησης, μη υποβαλής ασύλου και επιστροφής χωρίς καταγραφή ασύλου. Άρα ο δρόμος από εδώ και πέρα των λαθρομεταναστών θα είναι ή η φυλακή ή η έξοδος. Και επειδή βλέπω πολλούς εδώ πέρα...
He said his country would no longer be a taxi service or a hotel and that the government would protect the homeland.
Το μήνυμα είναι σαφές. Καθίστε εκεί που είστε, δεν είστε ευπρόσδεκτοι εδώ πέρα. Πλέον έχουμε και μια Ευρώπη που μας ακούει. Μια Ευρώπη που καταλαβαίνει ότι το μοντέλο ότι η Ευρώπη είναι ξενοδοχείο και ταξί όσων θέλουν να έρθουν παράνομα πρέπει να τελειώσει. Η ελληνική κυβέρνηση, ο Έλληνας Πρωθυπουργός ο Κυριάκος Μητσοτάκης θα πάρει όλα τα απαιτούμενα μέτρα για να προστατεύσει την πατρίδα μας από αυτό το οποίο γίνεται.
Ευχαριστούμε τον κύριο Υπουργό.
Once the bill passed, Plevris said Europe had shifted its attitude on immigration, allowing the country to change tack.
Είναι μια απολύτως σταθμισμένη ρύθμιση. Η Κομισιόν έκανε ανακοίνωση που σέβεται. Αυτό που δεν σέβεστε εσείς, που ψηφίζετε σήμερα τη συνταγματικότητα, το σέβεται η Κομισιόν, ότι η χώρα βρίσκεται σε έκτακτες συνθήκες. Υπάρχουν αποφάσεις ανάλογες. Απόφαση ειδικά της Ισπανίας που δέχτηκε αντίστοιχη πίεση στα χαρακτηριστικά της εισβολής, όπως έχουμε αυτή τη στιγμή με τους ρυθμούς στους οποίους γίνονται, και το Ευρωπαϊκό Δικαστήριο Δικαιωμάτων του Ανθρώπου το αποδέχτηκε.
Greece is a member of the ECHR, just as Britain is, but the country seems able to disapply asylum conventions, something unimaginable here. Former UK Border Force Chief Tony Smith told GB News Greece was at a tipping point, and the country has proven that where there's a will, there's a way.
How come the Greeks can say this when they're in the EU and they're in the ECHR, and at home we simply throw open the red carpet?
Yeah, it's a good question, Martin. And I think, you know, we are seeing a wind of change, aren't we, in Europe, not just in Greece, but in a number of European countries which are swinging violently to the right. We've had 10,000 in Crete recently just arrived. They are saying Crete is completely overwhelmed, Martin, 4,000 in the last week. What the new minister is saying is he's going to detain them all and deport them all. which is actually what I've been saying we need to do. We need to detain everybody and deport everybody to stop this. So that's what he's saying he's going to do. What worries me a little bit is he's got the infrastructure to do it. I mean, if they can keep him on the island of Crete, that's fine. I think they'll probably end up bringing him on to mainland Greece, Martin. Have they got enough detention spaces and prison spaces there? If not, I'm worried about that, because then they're in the Schengen zone. They can wander all the way up to Calais. And we heard recently, didn't we, some evidence that about a third of those that are breaching the external EU border want to come to the UK. And this is the first time we've seen a big rise. If you look at the Frontex figures, it's across that central Med route from Libya. They seem to have found a breakthrough there, the smugglers. They're on bigger boats, about 300 per boat. So I really wish him well. I hope he does manage to do this, but it does involve a lot of work, Martin. It does involve planning, building, pouring concrete, and having that legal framework that says we are going to detain you and we're going to deport you. And if you refuse to comply with that, then we're going to imprison you. Now, that is a really big policy and quite an expensive one, but one that I think they've decided now, in Greece at least, that this is something they're going to have to do. Otherwise, you're going to continue to see scenes like that, and potentially there's never going to be an end to it.
All right, Tony, in simple terms, if the Greeks can do it, why can't we?
Well, we've spoken before about this, Martin. Our legal framework is broken, ECHR, asylum, all the rest of it. Once people arrive in Dover, then we are pretty well powerless to do anything. They'll be into the asylum system, human rights system, and we know hardly any are being sent back. We could do it, but it does need a really, really bold leadership in this government to say we're going to start pouring concrete now. We're going to build detention centres and more prisons. We're going to detain people and deport people.
Today it was announced 50,000 migrants had crossed the channel to enter our country since Labour came to power, with little chance any will be sent back.
Well, the numbers are changing all the time, Eamon. They keep on coming. Now 4 small boats in the waters heading towards the UK. 2 are very close to UK waters, we're told. So it's more than 200 easily that are crossing again today, on top of what was 50,220 odd. So, of course, the numbers keep ticking up very quickly indeed. And that will take us now actually for the year to more than 27,000 this year alone, which is incredible given that we are only now entering the very busy, flat, calm summer months when you get very significant crossings. So to be at 27,000, which is more than 10,000 ahead of where we were at this point last year, that is phenomenal and will make very uncomfortable reading for the Prime Minister, who vowed that his administration would smash the gangs. We've had announcement after announcement, but none of them major initiatives that on their own will provide that silver bullet, but taken in the round, the government hopes that eventually, they're now talking in terms of eventually, they will be able to impact the numbers.
Nick Dunning, GB News.